Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We rented movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweety and Sweety are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's party.
All the way home.
Who are you kidding? Girls can't play softball.
What did you say?
I said girls can't play softball. What you doing?
Roberta, remember you're a lady.
Why don't you go home and play with your dolls?
The only doll Roberta's got is a G.I. Joe.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two Sweety sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweety.
And I'm Sweety.
And today we finally did the movie we've been wanting to do for years. Probably like ever since we started this podcast. I feel like this is one that was on the list. And people were like, you got to do that. And we were like, we know. We'll figure it out.
We know. But I feel like we did this at such a good time because it is Memorial Day weekend. And this is like, this movie is a summer vacation movie. Has that vibe. So I think it was kind of perfect. Also, we just had to pony up money. Well, Sweetie did. How much owe you for that?
$10. Well, $5.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I buy all the movies and pay for the hosting every month.
But we have the official copy of the DVD, so if you people, you large margers, want to see it, we'll mail it to you. Just kidding. That would be too expensive.
When we like got in a fight over like how much money each of us has spent on this podcast. Sure. And I was like, I'm tallying it up. All the Amazon movies I rented.
Cheapskate over here.
Oh, what? No, it was because you were like, I've spent more money than you have. And I was
sure
like,
I have.
no, you haven't. I've been paying Libsyn for like months.
Do you have okay, let's not go into this. This is boring. Hey guys, we did Now and Then.
Now and Then. I was like, now who's talking?
Now,
who's
then and now.
there? Now and then.
Yesterday.
And it was like any summer.
Was that song written for the movie?
I'm pretty sure.
Who is that
Had to
singer?
have
It
been.
sounds really familiar. 90s style singer.
Like Amy.
No, it's like
I don't know.
Lisa Loeb or
I want to
something.
say, I want to say Lisa. I want to say, what was that one that was like, I don't know, Liz Phair. I don't know.
I mean,
somebody.
this soundtrack is insane because it's like so many of the oldies jams. I mean, it's like hit after hit.
It's a great
here.
soundtrack.
Yeah, this is a great soundtrack. But this is the last song, right?
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. Okay, Susanna Hoffs from the Bangles. I'm like, that voice sounds so familiar.
Walk Like an Egyptian?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Good
She
one.
wrote it too. Cool. Anyway, Now and Then.
Woo!
As we said, favorite of many of you, mostly probably ladies, but hey, gentlemen, if you like this movie too,
More power
props
to
ya. Let's go on a date. This movie is from 1995. Another movie, just like Rookie of the Year, where I was 12 when this movie came out, and the girls in it are 12 too.
Whoa. Do you think you saw it when it came out, though?
In the movie theater? I don't think I did,
Yeah.
though. I don't remember that.
Where were we watching? Like, what? Did we not go to the movies then? I'm like, I don't think I saw any
But
of
I
these
saw
movies.
Rookie of the Year.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Definitely saw Rookie of the Year in the
Probably
theater.
a birthday party. The only movies I remember seeing are like Pocahontas or ones where there was a traumatic incident, like when I got diarrhea at The Lion King and when you got diarrhea at Mrs. Doubtfire. Like,
Yeah.
those are the only ones
Here's a
that
theory.
stick out.
Here's a theory. So Dad took us to most movies, right? Mom never almost never took us to a
Took
movie
us
by
to Mrs.
herself.
Doubtfire.
Other than Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't
you got
remember any
diarrhea.
others that she took us to. Dad was like okay,
The
rainy day
movie man.
kids, like let's go to the movies. And like Mom had shit to do during the day a lot, so like I don't like blame her for not taking us to the movies. But maybe this wasn't a movie that Dad was like, let's take you to this essentially what is a chick flick for 12-year-olds. I don't know if that would be something Dad would like want to take us to, right?
Well, he should.
I know.
God.
Yeah. So I think, and as Sweety brought this up, like, wow, why was this movie so popular? Great sleepover film, right?
Yes.
Killer sleepover film. The whole film is just like basically one giant sleepover. I mean, let's be real. And features a cast of people who, most of them are relatively still quite famous now. But at the time, it was like they were big news. Mid-90s, like these were pretty top actors. Maybe not Rita Wilson, but most of the others, including the young kids, right? So who do we got?
We got Christina Ricci.
This was the same year Casper, around same time, right? I think.
But wait, was Devon Sawa Casper too?
Yes.
But didn't he seem like younger in Casper?
Yeah, this might have been a little, maybe that was 93 and this was.
Oh, because we talked about Now and Then when we talked about Casper, and there was like the time to film Casper like took longer or something, but it wasn't released until 95.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds right.
So Christina Ricci, Thora Birch, Gabby Hoffman, and
Yeah, Chrissy is an unknowner, let's say. Didn't really do much. She's 3 names maybe.
And has now passed away, which
and
is
since,
sad.
R.I.P. Chrissy.
That later.
Chrissy the Younger.
And then their older versions are played by...
So the Gabby Hoffman, so Sam, is played by Demi Moore. Rosie O'Donnell plays Roberta, the...
totally straight Dr. Roberta.
The Christina Ricci character. Chrissy is played by Rita Wilson. And then, last but not least, Teeny, Thora Birch character, played by Melanie Griffith. So some big, 90s names. Some side characters in this. Hank Azaria. Funny little role for him. Cute as a button. Bonnie Hunt. National treasure. That woman steals every scene that she's ever in.
And she's
so
only in it
funny.
for a half a second.
Oh my God, I love her in this. I cannot wait to watch Jerry Maguire. She's the best.
Chrissy's
in
mom.
That. Yep. Janine Garofalo, 90s woman of the world. She was in so much 90s shit. I love her. She's hilarious. Also hilarious in this. And then, Brendan Frasier.
Oh my God. Best role he's ever had.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was like, wow. First of all, I was like, A, you can act. B, you're kind of hot. Which I never thought that about him.
I know.
So I was like, whoa.
It's just
weird little cameo for him. Very ooh, Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
Don't listen to your parent. And we'll talk about it. Some big 90s stars made their appearance in this. Pretty cool. What else to say about it off the bat here? Did you love it?
Of course.
Did you love it this time?
Of course. I find this movie to be very timeless because it's not rooted in the 90s or the 80s or whatever. It's in a time period that is you can always go back to and relate to it.
Please.
Well, yeah, I mean the now, but
the payphone,
the then part. Is very, because I like that they set it in the 60s for that reason, and I think that it doesn't get dated because of that, I guess.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts, but I loved it so much. Definitely watched it at several sleepovers. Just had so much fun with it. It's just one of those movies that you can always watch a million times, for me anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked it. I don't think I like this movie as much as other girls do. I've never connected to it on that level. And I was trying to brainstorm maybe why. And one of my thoughts was maybe I don't identify with any of the characters. Because in a movie like this, they do a thing where every girl is a type, right? So for this movie, you have Sam is the artsy, moody one. She's into sci-fi and ghosts. Teeny is the one who wants to be a celebrity and is kind of an exhibitionist. Roberta is the tomboy, and Chrissy is the whiny fat friend. I don't know if that's a type. And I didn't really fit into any of those. I guess if anything, I would be Sam from the writing perspective and also maybe her fashion sense and how she approached things. But I guess, and you said, that's not you connect necessarily with any of them.
I think I connected more with the themes, and it's especially relevant to me now looking back on your childhood. There's all these great lines about how at some point you just grow apart from your friends, and you realize you don't need each other as much anymore, and how it's not that you don't want to keep having an imagination. It just gets harder to because too many things are happening in your life that it just gets too hard to
believe
anymore. That really resonated
I really like that
with
line
me
too.
a lot. But it's just like that, like going back home and like realizing like that your life sucks, but when you connect with your friends, it still is like nothing's changed. And I don't know, I just really love that.
Yeah, I like that, and the friendship part is really great in this. And that really took me back because I did have a lot of friends like that. I had a big group. I didn't have a group of 4 girls. My group was like a little bit bigger, I guess. So we definitely didn't have like types and stuff like that. But it was, I just like miss those like amazing summers where you really did just ride your bike around all night, all day, and go to the candy store, and that was like your big event, or the arcade. You know, we had like a little arcade near our house. Go to like the old high school before we were in high school. Remember like riding bikes around the high school and being like, we're gonna go here someday. And like when we finally made it, it like wasn't a big deal at all. But like when we were being like 12 and thinking how cool that was, yeah, just like that kind of sense is really cool. So the sense of place is really great, of that little town, and just that whole dynamic of like them spending a summer together and like what hijinks they got into. And then obviously throw in like the ghost story aspect and all the real world problems that they were facing too. And like Sweety was saying, that like, I don't know if 12 is totally the time when you kind of start doing that turn. I guess that's a good time to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was like that for me.
and-
Yeah. But that you really start like you're not as like shielded by your parents from the goings on, both not only of the world, so in this case like Vietnam was happening, but just like, you know, people getting divorced or like this and that. So I think that is like kind of, and learning about sex and having crushes on boys and being heartbroken and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting little flick. I enjoyed it this time. Again, amazing soundtrack. Pumped about all the jams, the old jams. And great to see all those actresses again. You know, I feel like it's been a while since I've seen like Demi Moore in anything. I don't know. What's Demi Moore done lately?
I don't know.
Melanie?
G.I. Jane too?
Yeah. Rosie.
Well,
we
we
saw
see
her last, Rosie in that Smilf show.
Yep, she's amazing in that. But I mean, like we've seen them in movies that we've covered, so I feel like we have seen them recently, but I guess not in real life. Yeah, but yeah,
Not in real life.
good times.
I saw Demi Moore in real life at the Burger King. Kidding.
Whatever. Anyways, yeah. So I think we should jump into this one.
All right.
One squeaky bicycle at a time.
It's time for the Sweety synopsis. Yeah, sweeties. Wormy wormers. I was almost going to go truth or dare. Truth. Roberta, how big are your breasts?
Good one. Why does anyone ever pick dare?
I don't
That's
know.
my question.
Yeah.
Like someone just like switch it up every now and then. Dare be like, oh shit, I can't think of one.
Scaredy cats.
Samantha, Teeny, Christy, and Roberta are best friends forever. They are 12 years old and they live in the Gaslight Edition, a development in Shelby, Indiana in 1970. And it's the best summer of their lives. They are riding their bikes every day. They're having a blast. Here's a few things about the gals. Here's what's going on in there. Here's their sitch. Roberta, tomboy. Mother died when she was 4 years old. Doesn't have that mother figure. Has 3 brothers, a dog that's probably also a boy, and a father. So she's surrounded by men.
Yep.
I mean, put it together. But that's her situation. But she's like the most developed, I would say, of the 4 girls. She has boobs, but she doesn't want them. She tapes them down. So like that's her shtick. Teeny is a daughter of, I guess, rich parents who are like at the country club.
Country
They're always
clubbers.
having parties. She desires like nothing more than to be famous and adored by men, all any ages and whatever. That's what she strives for. Makes fake boobs with balloons filled with pudding. Good times.
Not if they break.
Chrissy is, as Sweetie said, the fat friend. You know, I mean, she's not fat, but
She's
like
not really fat.
they make a point of like saying that a lot in the movie, which is upsetting to me. But she's very straight. She's very straight.
Straight-laced?
Straight-laced. I was like,
Straight
what
laced,
is the
straight
word?
edge, uptight. I
Yeah,
think is
very
the word.
uptight. Like doesn't like swearing. Doesn't know anything about sex.
From her own upbringing. So
Right.
her mom is Bonnie Hunt, and she's very sweet but definitely is trying to shield her daughter from a little bit too much.
So,
you don't meet her dad, but it seems like they have a pretty harmonious, whatever she knows of it, harmonious marriage.
Right.
Her whole room is pink.
But yeah,
What does she say when like the canopy? Canopy up, canopy down.
I don't understand what does it mean?
I'm trying to work that in my head. I'm like, is this a riddle?
Can it be down?
Canopy up, canopy down.
Cannot be down.
Yeah. Canopy
But
up,
it should
cannot
be down.
Yeah. Wait.
I don't get it. Bonnie?
Cannot be up, canopy down. Maybe it was cannot be up, canopy down.
Okay, that makes sense. And then lastly,
Or maybe it's just can it be down? Question mark.
mystery of the year. Please explain
Bonnie
it.
Hunt? Ding, ding, ding. What did you mean by that?
And then finally, Sam, whose parents, her father has left in the middle of the night and apparently never came back. And her
Which
mom,
is bullshit.
Yeah,
You know how to
I
really
don't-
fuck up your kids?
I don't-
Leave in the middle of the night and never come back.
I don't understand. I don't understand that.
Was the grandmother
He seemed okay.
his
I
mom?
don't know. Good question. I'm not sure. But her mom has now found a bunch of wigs and dresses
Short shorts.
and short shorts and struts around and dates Hank Azaria and is just having a blast. And Sam's like, "Ugh, I hate it," but keeps it from her friends because she doesn't want them to know because no one else was divorced at this time in the 60s. So those are the gals. So that is then. Now, Chrissy is pregnant, and they made a pact when they were 12 to all come back together and be there for whoever got pregnant first, I guess.
No. Wasn't the pact like about
whenever we need if we need you,
So
you'll be there.
Chrissy was just like, I need you because I'm having a baby?
I guess.
But she has like a sweet little like orthodontic husband.
Yeah, he's like always working.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He
I don't
doesn't
know.
say
I'm
much
I'm
either.
unclear of the situation there, but yeah. So they come back together. They haven't seen. I mean, Chrissy and Roberta see each other all the time.
Right.
I have a fan theory that they are actually lesbian lovers, and I think it checks out.
Whose baby is that, Chrissy? Just kidding.
Good one, sweetie. Not how it works.
How does Chrissy know?
But so they get there together and they're kind of like, oh, remember that summer? And then the movie kind of goes back then to the then. So the summer.
The summer 1970. It was summer.
I thought you said it was 60.
No, it's 1970.
I said the 60s. You didn't correct me.
You said 70s.
I was making
like
a couple
seven
of
in the
sentences
air.
ago.
I know.
You were making a 7 in the
Yeah,
air?
I was going G, G.
Looks like a G.
No, I do the 7 with the line down, like
Oh, that's the line.
British way.
Okay.
I'm British.
Whatever.
I'm
Remember
British.
Grammy's clock? The 7 was like a weird
Yeah.
backwards 2?
Oh, yeah.
That's not a thing.
Yeah. So it's this great summer. When are you when you're 12? 7th grade? What is that? Yeah. 6th grade? 6th grade. You're 6th grade. End of 6th grade,
Yes.
you're 12. So they graduated 6th grade and they got their bikes and they are saving up to get this sick treehouse, which costs $129.99, which figure out
done the conversion.
Figure out what that is. So they're saving up, doing odd jobs, have a coffee can full of money. And meanwhile, what else are they doing in the summer? They hold seances.
Yep.
So Sam is kind of like the spooky ooky one, and she like loves science fiction novels and ghosts and like all that jazz. So in the middle of the night, she's like, "It's gonna be a full moon, guys. Like, let's do a seance." So she drags everyone out to the cemetery, which looks pretty close by their houses, and they do a seance one night. So they have like the blanket with the candles, and they always sit near this headstone that's like, "Dear Johnny." So they're like, who should we, talk to during the seance? And Sam's like, let's do Dear Johnny. Like, it's obviously a little kid. He died. His birth and dead years are on the tombstone. So I know he was like 10 or something.
$129 for the treehouse in 1970 is $843 today.
What? Dang.
That is so much
so
money.
hopefully they were saving up for a couple summers. I mean,
Where are they getting their money from?
yeah, who knows? Allowances. I mean, they've been friends for a while. So that's, wow, good for you girls. That's amazing. You should have saved it for college, but whatever. The treehouse still stands. So they do this seance and they then a lightning storm happens and they all like freak out and run away. Meanwhile, pass old Pete, what is he called? Crazy Pete on his squeaky bicycle. Sweetie, take it away. What's with Creepy Pete and the squeaky bike?
It's Crazy Pete. Crazy Pete is just this old man who doesn't come out except at night and takes trips through the graveyard on his squeaky bicycle, old-fashioned squeaky bicycle, which isn't creepy at all. Just kidding. It's the creepiest thing. He goes slowly, like he could be a ghost old
He
man
looks like a
in
ghost
the
on a bike.
cemetery. I just and then like there's a part at the end where he's like, "What, are you afraid of me?" And I'm like, "Gee, Pete, I don't know." Is it because you take your squeaky bike on a trip through the cemetery every night? I don't know.
Listen, here's some WD-40. Grease those wheels. We'll talk about it later.
Oh, Pete.
Yeah.
So basically, the girls decide that they have brought dear Johnny back from the grave, and that Sam saw a couple weird shadows and decides that he's like haunting.
Well, then they go back to the graveyard
Right.
a couple nights later, and the Dear Johnny headstone is cracked down the middle.
So they're like,
so if you
positive.
think that a ghost climbs out of a grave physically and breaks the
headstone,
tombstone,
yeah.
then sure,
That happened.
Definitely is what happened.
So the rest of the movie in like the summer is basically the main thing is trying to figure out how dear Johnny died. So they bike to the library like 9 miles away in Greenfield, and they look through the old newspaper books and find an obituary that says Beverly Sims and her son Jonathan were like brutally because of they
don't find out.
Yeah, they don't find out anything other than the what happened. Their death was so sudden and crazy that
tragic.
it's going to be a tragic. It's going to be a private service. So they're like, whoa, and the rest of the pages are ripped out. So they go next to the local witch, Janine Garofalo, super witchy, love her. She does tarot cards, and they ask her like how dear Johnny died, and she flips over a card with a guy who's like been stuck with a bunch of knives, which I don't think means a literal murder in tarot cards, but it's just the picture is very like, ooh, scary. So it's effective nonetheless. Next, they go to Sam's grandmother because she's the oldest person they know. And she tells them, they're like, oh, it's a horrible thing. I don't want to talk about it. Blah, blah, blah. You're just like your grandfather. You kept all this stuff in the attic. And they're like, So they break into the attic and find a scrapbook that has, actually they find a newspaper that has the article that had been ripped out, I guess, of the library one. And it says that Beverly Sims and Jonathan Sims were brutally murdered by, they don't know, but they believe a bank robber. They believe a robber broke into the house, was caught off guard that they were there, and shot them both. Which, I don't know if I believe that story.
I don't either.
I just
That
don't
seems
think like if you're a robber, you're like, oh shit, and you like shoot one
Just
person.
get out
You're
of the
not
house.
Like,
What is
let
that?
me find the kid and
Right.
shoot him too.
Right. And like, what is a woman and little boy going to do to you? Like, nothing.
In the 70s, like what? Come on,
It's kind of a bullshit
Suspicious.
story, and they never find the person.
No.
Right.
Yeah. It's a mystery till this day. So that's sad. And then when they go back to the graveyard to try to put dear Johnny to rest, they're interrupted by the grave like zooming into the cemetery, floating. And just kidding, it's the bulldozer guy who decides a great time to replace the headstone is in the middle of the night. As you do, you know, what else does he have to do? Nothing. Sleep? Forget it.
Yeah.
So he tells them that actually he knocked over the headstone with his bulldozer, and they're like, oh shit, I guess this is all just pretend, we're stupid. So they kind of at that moment stop believing, I guess, and all that stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, you don't have to stop believing. I mean, I don't
No,
think that
but, like-
your like seance like essentially worked. And you could say like silver lining, they did find out like a lot of other things, you know,
No, I'm
about
not saying
like Sneaky Pete or whatever his name was.
just like short round all over again. You're just like the coach in
It could
in
be
Rookie of the
anything.
Year.
And so so they find out like kind of the bottom of like they come to the bottom of the story. What is that phrase? Man, I'm tired. I traveled this weekend and I'm still
Bottom
like,
of the
fucking
barrel?
out of it.
What? I don't know what phrase you were going for.
So yeah, so the mystery is over. But so they don't find out that Creepy Pete is is the father of the little boy and the woman who were murdered. Sam finds that out because she like they're like, okay, like let's get out of here, Sam. And she's like, wait, I left. She sees like Pete coming into the cemetery with like he's just walking in there with some flowers. So I think she puts two and two together, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go back in there. Like, don't wait for me, guys. I left something in there. So she goes in and she talks to Pete, and she's like, you're like Johnny's father, right? So he like kind of tells her and gives her this wisdom about like, you know, bad stuff's gonna happen in your life, but like don't like let that make you like not live, essentially, like keep living your life. And she takes that to heart, or does she? Because she kind of doesn't.
Definitely doesn't.
Yeah. And then the girls go back and they get their treehouse though. So Sweet got the inner books. But then Sam says this very melancholy thing that said, like, you know, getting the treehouse was supposed to bring them together, but really it made them realize that they were all 4 different people and kind of like doing their own thing. So like the last shot of them is in like the treehouse and they're all kind of doing their own thing on the treehouse. They're not like chatting together or doing everything like that. And that just symbolizes that they started maybe to kind of grow apart. Because my big question, and that's like the end of the then part, right? So my big question with that is like, did they all stay friends like into high school or no, you think?
I don't know. Definitely Roberta and Chrissy probably did. Because, you know, they're lovers forever. But unclear about, and maybe they like diverged and like Sam and
because that's
Teeny.
what happens with those friend groups a lot, and you can tell in this movie, and they show you that they're definitely closer. So like Teeny and Sam are much closer, and like Roberta and Chrissy are like closer. So I'm sure they did pair off because they were interested in leaving the town, and like those other two weren't. So like I'm sure that happened, but it is pretty natural that what happens with groups of friends like that, because you do change. Like you're not the same person that you are at 12 as you are at 14 or then 16. You know, you really do like shift around. So then it goes back to the now. What's happening in the now?
Now Chrissy's giving birth to her baby, so they're all together in the delivery room because her husband's like can't get away from his busy orthodontist job. Like what?
He's doing a root canal.
Oh, okay. So he's a regular dentist, but I mean, like if your pregnant wife is expecting like I don't know. I'm just like I have problems.
They
with that.
wanted it, so she had it with her friends.
I know. So she gives birth to the baby. It's an exciting moment. They
Bloody
take
baby.
the baby up into the treehouse, which is very ill-advised in my opinion. How did they get it up there? It seems very unsafe. And they kind of have like a little talk, and Sam's like, "Hey guys, did I ever tell you that Crazy Pete is Dear Johnny's dad?" And they're like, "What?" I would be so mad at my friend if all summer they were searching for information about that shit, and she just like just keeps that in all these years, all these fucking years. Are you kidding me? Are
Why,
you kidding
Sam?
me?
She just like wanted that special like thing with Pete.
Just because Pete saved you from the water, the sewer, doesn't mean you get to keep this secret.
But then then Teeny's like, oh, I always sent him like money every Christmas, like a card every Christmas with money in it. Like Sam didn't do that. Weird.
He only saved your fucking life.
I know. But she like kept that secret,
Unbelievable.
right? So then they're like, oh, and so she tells them that, and then tells them a little bit about the wisdom that he told her, because then they're going around and saying like truth or dare, and Sam asks Chrissy if she's happy, and Chrissy's like, yeah, and then they ask Sam if she's happy, and she's like, no, and I like kind of am resentful about this whole section of the movie, because basically they're like, Sam, like you just need a relationship. And like, and I get so annoyed by those. But plots.
I think the point was that she didn't have any relationship
with friends, even.
Yeah, I think it was like they saw it as male companionships, I guess. But I think she was saying just like in general, I shut people out, just like Pete did.
Right, but like, okay, so she didn't really like, because she's narrating the scene with Pete in the cemetery, and it's like he gave me that wisdom that day, but I didn't actually take it.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's too bad. But anyway, so she like basically has like abandonment issues because her dad left her. So like she refuses to get close to anybody because if you don't fall, well, she says if you don't fall in love, then like you can't get hurt. Which is like, okay, that's like the tale as old as time. Like
as old as time.
Yeah, same as Potts. So hopefully this means that she'll, listen to reason.
She also said she's so afraid of the bad things that she missed out on all the good, which is me in a nutshell, and I'm very depressed about it. And I'm going to start living right this moment. I'm going to start living. I'm going to start living,
But
sweetie.
she had a cool life. I mean, yeah, she was a chain smoker, but looked like she probably lived in like a cool writery place. She was a published author.
What's a writery place?
Seattle. I don't know. I mean, or New York. She's probably New York. She like dressed in all black and like had like these kind of like John Lennon dark sunglasses.
Oh, I hate those glasses.
She wore her hair in Heidi braids though. Interesting look.
I'm not into her style.
Yeah, her style's a little bit creeped. But
the Annie Lennox look is over.
Yeah. So I hope it means like it just like it should be like, wow, like let's just keep in touch and not being like, Sam, you should get a boyfriend because then you'll be so happy. No, girls, no. I mean, get a boyfriend. That's awesome. It's good for you. But don't look for that to make you like 100% happy. I'm just saying. And like, yes, you know, Chrissy was happy that she had the baby. Sure. But, you know, a couple minutes from then, she's probably going to be postpartum.
God, dark. That's all right. She has her lesbian
I'm
lover,
totally
Roberta,
Sam.
to hold her hand. She'll be fine.
Yeah. Is Roberta happy? She's in the closet.
I doubt it. I highly doubt Roberta's happy. I don't. Yeah. So that's basically the flick. So good one. Good flick. Obviously, so many good parts that it's going to be hard to talk about all of them, but I will try.
My God.
So I guess to start off with, riding bikes was the shit when you were little, right? You didn't have a car. It was your mode of transportation. It just felt so cool to be able to like get yourself where you needed to be. It gave you such a strong sense of independence. And Sweety and I had in the summer, we would always bike to the library, and it was like the best. We had a bike trail that went all the way. So it was a really nice ride. We'd stop and get frozen Italian ice at the Super
Watermelon flavored,
the best.
50 cents each
with a little wooden spoon.
We'd
like do that. Sometimes we'd bike to the pond and go swimming. It was so much fun.
Oh, so fun.
But I remember in 5th grade, like riding bikes with my friends was like the shit.
Yep.
It was so much
we went
freaking fun
everywhere. And like I said, kind of in the opener, like we had this really cool arcade. So we would either save our money to go there. And it was like kind of like off the highway, but we had this like kind of like cool back way to get there, which was like also a little bit scary because you had to go through this like construction site that had these Doberman Pinscher guard dogs.
You told us the story.
Oh my God. No, that was a different one. I think the Doberman Pinschers that like almost attacked my friend. That one?
Pretty sure that was the why would there be other Doberman Pinschers? Oh, the guy on our street?
Yeah, no, this is different. This was like, they were like...
I'm pretty sure when you told that story, I was like, wasn't it on the way to the Red Barn? I got confused again.
Because for a good chunk of when we used to go to the Red Barn, there actually wasn't the bike trail. It was just dirt back there, remember? Like it was
there wasn't a bike. There still isn't one. You had to like either go on that back way or on the highway.
Yeah, which we did.
On that sketchy and like walk on that path.
And then I used to go to the... general store and get like penny candy. That was really big. Now and Later's. I got like Sweety gave me those for Easter. My Easter bag this year. I was like, oh my God.
With Now and Then, which
right.
I did.
Yeah. But we used to do. There was a driving range and also off the bike trail, and we used to go and drive our bike over to that and collect all the golf balls in the woods. That was really fun.
Yeah, but it was so much fun. So this movie just really brings me back to that like nostalgia. And again, even though it's set in the 1970s, like I feel like bikes are always going to be hopefully relevant unless they change into hoverboards or something.
Yeah, I mean, our summers were not, were very similar to that summer. I mean, I didn't have like a wormers group. We didn't live in a housing complex. We didn't have as many kids around.
I kind of wanted to though.
I know.
This movie
That
definitely made me want to live in a housing complex with all of my friends.
We don't have as many of those in New England.
Barely
That's
any.
not like totally a New England thing, I would say. I think there's some, but I'm probably more now. But
my friend's mom took us trick or treating in one of those in like Harwich or something. Jackpot, you guys, jackpot.
And like when I've been to like Florida or Texas or like California and stuff, I feel like they have those so much more like poltergeist style. We just don't have those out here. So like your friends would be like not that close to you. You'd probably like have a couple of friends on your road. Like Andre had one down at the end of her road. I didn't really have any. I had some a couple roads away, but that's why you had your bikes, man. Just like jumped on your bike.
Back it.
Yeah, so fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Summers.
So the thing that sticks out the most of this for me, surprise, surprise, is the kind of scary parts. My friends and I like really freaked ourselves out one time looking at the shadow Johnnies that like appear in the movie, and we're like, "Did you see it? Did you see it?" And we like rewind it, be like, "Oh my God!" And then we were like so freaked out that night, we like couldn't go to sleep, and it was silly. But so the parts with Dear Johnny, I think, are pretty spooky. I mean, for a comedy movie that is for like little girls, basically. There's like when Sam's leaving the graveyard, she sees like a figure waving, and it's really creepy because it's not just like a tree, like it actually looks like a person I can see ears. So it really freaked me out. And then the one in her bedroom is even scarier because it's like moving slowly towards the window and then it like zips
Peter
out.
Pan's shadow?
Yeah, it's like so fucking scary.
That's
and then
weird.
the tarot cards, like it scared me a little bit. Of course, now I'm not scared anymore. But I just wanted to point out that that's what I remember
Thank God.
most fondly from this. But I think for the most part, what do girls remember from this movie, Sweetie?
Devon Sawa's penis.
Oh shit!
Or lack thereof. Yeah, so that was my like first memory and will always be the first memory. So as we talked about when we did Casper, my sexual awakening happened with Devon Sawa. And if you look at this movie, I don't know how you can deny it because he's cute as a freaking button. He looks like every cute kid in my middle school, which was none. There weren't that many cute kids in my school. I mean, there were, and I had a crush on one named Chris in 7th grade. He was the new kid. He kind of looked like him, actually. And he's adorable. So he's part of the Wormers, which is this other, like, the equivalent gang to the girls. If there's 4 girls, it's 4 guys who ride around bikes all day and just like get into trouble, and they are always like in like a perpetual war with them. So the first time you see them, they like come upon them and they throw water balloons with green jello in them, which is a great idea,
But awful. Like, dang, that sucks. Is it hard to get Jello out of
I don't
things?
know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Ooh.
So not good for the laundry, but like that's pretty smart. Chrissy's like, oh my God, it's Jello. Meanwhile, she's like eating a balloon.
I'm surprised that didn't happen. Yeah.
So then they're like, we're going to get you, Wormers. Like, we're going to get back at you. So then they kind of pop around through the movie. And then the big scene that happens is when they bike to Greenfield to go to the library, they happen upon the Wormers who also biked 9 miles to go to a pond? Like, question mark?
Well, it was like on the way, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So not that
Maybe
not
not
that
9,
close.
but-
So they're skinny dipping in, and they had already like kind of done like had a little water fight. The girls, and they swam with all their clothes on. Smart chicos, and or
Is
were
it? I
they?
think that'd be annoying.
Well, they weren't wearing bras yet. Maybe. Well, I
yeah,
guess
but still
they were.
like biking in like wet
Yeah,
clothes.
wet clothes the
No,
worst.
thanks.
Chafe City. So they happen upon the Wormers kind of fooling around in the water with no clothes on, and they see all their clothes draped upon their bike. So like, perfect. Let's steal their clothes, and they'll chase after us and be really embarrassed and stuff like that. So I thought the Devon Sawa penis scene. Okay, so this was like rumored that once you saw this, and it was like an urban legend that like if you pause the video at a certain time, you could see Devon Sawa's penis. And I always thought it was in when they were fooling around in the water because they're doing backflips and like all this stuff. And then we were watching it, and I'm kind of on the lookout. This sounds creepy, but this is for research purposes only. And I don't see it, so I'm like, oh man, I missed it. And then there's this part where he like has basically like a potato sack around his waist to like cover up his junk. And he like his boxers get thrown on the ground. He like runs to go get them and then squats. And apparently that's when you can see it, Sweety said.
Yeah. And Sweetie made me rewind it so that she could look again to see if she could see it.
I mean, it's very quick. And it's
very
just like
quick. It's just a blur.
Skin, yeah, it's like a skin
Maybe
shot.
You can, I don't know.
It
But
might have been a ball shot.
my friends and I, for sure, rewound and like slow motioned the shit out of that scene, and we'd be like, "I can see
Yeah,
it," but
it was
no,
really
we couldn't.
exciting.
We couldn't see shit. Like, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it.
And like you want to be
and
like,
I
listen,
I think it's so.
don't waste your
funny.
time on a
Yeah, I think
12-year-old
it's so
penis.
funny that our like life goal was to see a penis, and then when we did, we were like, "Ew, that's it." Like it's just a floppy piece of skin. Whereas like when boys finally see boobs, they're like, I mean, boobs are pretty beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Like, good for you, congratulations, you actually got to see boobs. But like for us, that sucks.
yeah, that's all we get. It's like
It's
flabby
bullshit.
penis and balls.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, but I'm glad like that was part of the movie because you're right. Like
Yeah.
there's always like this elusive search for naked breasts in like every film since the dawn of time.
Yes.
And we never get the penises. The penises are coming out a lot
Oh my
more
God.
in TV shows
I love
now,
it.
and it's kind of
It's
amazing.
hilarious,
I
but it's always
love
like
it.
comedic.
yeah,
You know, because it's like there's a floppy dick. Like
yeah. I just
don't know.
want them to exist like boobs do.
Yeah.
you know, just
Yeah.
like there's
Someday.
penis. But
Someday.
yeah, so that was like my biggest memory of
Yeah.
this film for sure. Love that Devon Sawa. He's adorbs. What else? I wasn't as like captivated by that ghost story. I'm just going eh. And I was kind of like eh about it when I was little.
fine, whatever.
I did enjoy the Brendan Frasier scene, as I said. Brendan Fraser as this random cameo of this Vietnam vet who comes home and like tells it like it is. And he gives them cigarettes to smoke, and he has an earring in his ear. And Chrissy's like, is that an earring? Are you a hippie? My mom says hippies, all hippies are sex fiends. And he just looks like, what is wrong with this chick? Yeah, so that part's really funny, and not funny, but like interesting little cameo section for them.
Great acting. Great acting by Brendan.
I really believed
by B.
him.
Fraser.
I really believed him.
Like
and he
Keanu
did
Reeves.
look really cute.
It's like Keanu Reeves in Babes in Toyland.
Yeah.
Where's that Keanu? Where's that
Yeah.
Brendan?
Yeah. Oh, no,
Why
definitely.
don't we see this more?
And I'm like, oh, I can. And I was watching it. I'm like, I totally understand why Brendan Fraser was like the it guy of the 90s. Like, because he is actually like, or was, pretty good looking. But sadly, if you've seen him in recent roles, and he's in something else recent, or a movie that
The
someone was
Affair.
like, no, but something else. Someone was like, oh my God, Brendan Fraser was so good in that. But in TV shows, he was in The Affair as this cop in a prison. And whoa, he is just very scary. He's gained some weight. And wow, he's not the 90s heartthrob. So it's interesting what happens with age and time.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
So
good turn there.
Yeah. Another traumatic scene, or maybe the most traumatic scene, is when Teeny and Sam have like a bonding night, and Sam finally tells Teeny that her parents are divorcing, and Teeny's like, I know what to do. And she like rips her necklace in half and like wraps one around Sam and then does hers on the other. So they're like friendship bracelets. And then they bike home, and Sam's like, oh no, my bracelet's gone. And Teeny's like, what? Who cares? Let's go. She's like, no, I have to find it. And I'm like, Sam, like, it's raining. It's pouring rain out. It's middle of the night. Fucking forget about it. Go out with someone else. Like, get another bracelet.
Right. Let's get
But
a legit one that won't
She,
fall
like,
off every
has
day.
to, and then they're like, we have to look for it. So they're like half-assed, like, looking for it. And Teeny's like, I see it. It's in the sewer. And I'm like, how the fuck did you see
That
that?
would be like first, like, number one reason not to go back for
Right.
it. It is in the sewer.
Yeah, it's a lost cause.
Yeah.
So it is kind of on like the edge where you could like kind of get it, and Sam like reaches for it, but then it fucking falls down into the sewer, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit, don't worry, I can get it."
And this is either like 1970s sewers or maybe Midwest sewers, because we don't have that kind of sewer here, where you can like actually jump underground and like into where all the water collects. Wild.
scary.
Basically like the movie It. If you ever seen the movie It, where It's hiding down there and he grabs the brother's arm off, this is what it is.
So she's down there like putzing around. She's like, "Look, a yo-yo," and Teeny's like, "Great, cool, like hurry up, this is weird." And then it like thunders, and this stream of water just comes down the street, and Sweety's like, "Is that how it works?" Like, what? Is that how rain works?
Literally it downpoured for maybe 5 seconds, and then it was
And
like
then it was like a
crazy
stream.
flood.
So all this water's flying down in the sewer. Sam's trying to get out. Teeny tries to help her one time. She slips. And she's like, I can't save her. I'm like, girl, try again. Why did she only try one time and then give up?
Bad friend.
And then she's trying to get the sewer thing up the top. And is trying to open it, but she can't do it. And so she's just like crying. She's like, Sam. I'm like, girl, I just
Run
feel
for
like
help.
she could have tried more. And meanwhile, I go to Sweety. I'm like, couldn't she just wait until the water like rose and she could have just like,
I
swam
don't know
to
if
the
you
top?
Can swim if that's like when water rises like that, if it just kind of covers you and you can't swim and float. That's my guess.
I was just confused about that, but very traumatic. And then Crazy Pete pushes Teeny out of the way, opens the lid, jumps, like dives into the sewer, gets Sam out, pushes her up, and then is like, "Are you guys okay?"
Ben, he's so sweet.
He's so sweet. And then the girls are like, "Oh,
And they're
Crazy
still
Pete, I'm
scared of him. Like, he just saved your life. Like, get over the creepy Pete thing. He's like life-saving Pete now. Like, good thing. And like, they're still like kind of sketch out by him. I mean, I know he's like a wet old man now and he looks a little weird, but like, come on. And he's so sweet. So they're like, why don't you ever come out during the day? And he like explains that he like is scared of people and he thinks people are scared of him. And like, but they don't know at this point that he's like the Dear Johnny dad. Really great scene, but also like, I was like, why, when you're going to like make up a scene where like someone is in peril, let's say, I don't know, like, who thought of that? Like, ooh, like, let's have her almost drown in a storm drain. Maybe the writer that, like, almost happened to her or something. It just seems so random.
Maybe that was, like, a common thing in the 70s, and that's why they got rid of those kinds of storm drains. Because there are too many accidents.
Seems dangerous.
Too many bracelets were lost, and people were
too
trying
many bracelets. Killer clowns can live down there.
Right.
I mean, it's not a great
Scary.
thing. That's like the second storm drainy thing. So maybe you're right. Like, that's like a trope.
A fear, yeah.
And also, like, I felt was a very similar ending to Home Alone because it felt like, again, like creepy old man saves a rescue and suddenly you don't think they're creepy anymore.
Yeah.
Also, good trope.
Good trope.
The arc of the creepy old man.
Yes, it's good. Or the creepy old woman, as Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, will tell you.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, don't think old people are creepy. I'm just going to throw that out there because you know what? They used to not be old.
True. But some old people are creepy, and I think you should stay away from them.
Who?
Pedophiles.
They're not always old.
I know,
pedophile can be any age.
Right, but I don't know. I'm just don't. I don't want kids to be listening and be like, I'm gonna go up to every old person that seems creepy and be like, hi. They'll get kidnapped.
I don't know. I mean, old people are. I just find them very interesting because I see them on the train all the time, or just I see them in the natural world all the time.
Sweetie just is like staring at old people on the train, like. Oh.
But I can't help but be like, they used to look like you and me. And like, what were their lives like? What were they doing? Was like this old man who can like barely stand up, some like hot rod going on all these dates? I mean, that's like what we're all eventually going to be. And I find that like so interesting that, you know, the place that the elderly have in our society.
Very depressing.
It is depressing, but it's like, I don't know. I just find
you know what I hate? I hate the pride that old men have that they can't take a seat on the train, and they're like, if you offer them a seat, they get all offended. I'm sick of that bullshit.
Aww.
Toxic old man masculinity.
But they just like don't want to be known as old.
Whatever.
They
I'm giving you my seat. Fucking take it.
Yeah. Well, the young men don't have a problem taking the seats. I'll tell you that.
Nope. That's for sure. Another favorite scene is the softball game scene. Which Roberta's love softball, and they hear there's a big softball game, so they all go down there, and it's all boys playing. But then Roberta goes up to bat, and the Devon Sawa character's like, "Move it in, guys, move it in." I'm like, "Fuck you, dude. She'll smoke all your ass."
This is before they make out.
Yeah, sorry. Well, make out is generous, but yes. And so then there's this like fat kid on the fence who's not playing, and who's like, "Girls can't play softball," which. That's funny because now they can only play softball, right, according to the rest of the world. And she's like, "What did you say?" And he's like, "Girls can't play ball." And she like goes up and like punches him in the face, and he falls off. And then there's like a fight, and then her friends pull her off, and he's like, "Too bad your mom's died. She could have taught you some manners." And then Sam decides, like, let's go for Brendan, like, attacks him instead. And I just love that scene. And they all get in a big tussle. And then I love it.
Yeah, it's really good. I love seeing ladies throw some punches.
Yeah.
You know who that guy on the fence probably turned into? Some, like, horrible, like, men's rights activist.
Why isn't there a men's history month?
Why can't men play softball?
Why? Me too. It's also about men too. Like, fuck you, dude. Yeah, that's totally what he turned into for sure. For sure.
Yeah, that's a really good scene. I also enjoy the scenes. I don't even know if I have any more, but I just want to talk about my random notes. Mm-hmm. Can we just do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So so how old do we think these ladies are? It's 12 to, I think they're mid-30s because I think it's 25 years.
Well, it's 1995, I'm assuming, is like the time period.
Right. Oh, so then maybe, so then it would be 25 plus 12. Oh, that would be 37 though, wouldn't it?
13, 12 plus... That's not right.
No. No, because from 1970 to 95 is 25 years, but they were 12 already, so add 25 and 12.
Wait, I have a better way. 1970 minus 12.
I already did it. 37.
1958, they were born. 37?
Yes.
That can't be
right. That's why I don't think it's right. So maybe it doesn't take place in 95, like even though this came out in 95, because I think they're early 30s.
Yeah, maybe early 30s, mid 30s, something like that.
Because it is like her first baby, but none of the other ones have babies, and none of the other ones are married or anything. So that's
Teeny was married 3 times,
right? But divorced, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's like kind of cool that they made them, you know, kind of older, olderish 30s, you know, cool. We read in the trivia. So as we've said a couple times, we believe that Roberta is a lesbian. And apparently she was supposed to be, but they didn't want to commit to that for the film. So made like a last minute edit, because there's this scene where Chrissy says like, oh, and Roberta is living with her boyfriend in sin. And we both like turn to each other and like roll our eyes like, boyfriend. Yeah,
Like,
right.
quote unquote.
Because
boyfriend.
they really do set her up, despite being the only one to like hook up with a wormer and have that kiss and everything.
I don't think they set her up to be a lesbian when in the 1970s scenes. Like, I don't see that as much. But if you turn Christina Ricci into Rosie
Right.
O'Donnell,
Right.
who is suddenly like the butchest person
Right.
on the planet, you're like, what's happening here? She obviously is a lesbian.
And that would have been such a cool thing to have. Okay, because
Right.
there's going to be in friend groups, like not everyone's going to be straight. Like,
And
you
that's
know,
fine.
That's fine. And that's like pretty much how it always shakes down.
Just-
so
yeah, I just think it was a strange. So let's talk a little bit about the matches of the young actresses against the older ones. So the Rosie one, I just think is the most problematic.
Yeah.
Only because I don't. So like we talked about this a bit when we talked about Big and vice versa, where like you as the older, like it's. The kid always has the easier job because you're basically a blank slate, like when you're a kid or whatever. But like the older adult version needs to have some resemblance to that kid character,
Right.
I feel like.
Definitely.
And Rosie had none. Like Roberta was not like a jokey, sarcastic, like wisecracking person.
No.
Nor did she ever express interest in being a doctor.
right. Right. And like, I feel like Rosie should just have played it a little bit more, not comedic. Like, it was basically a Rosie O'Donnell like comedy routine
Right.
was how she was acting Roberta.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
So that one definitely did not work for me.
And I wonder, like, they just cast her because, again, she was, like, so of the moment. Like, Rosie O'Donnell was
think so.
huge in the
Yeah.
90s
And
with her show
kind
and
of
everything.
Look like Christina Ricci,
Yeah,
like
definitely.
if you look at it that way. So maybe that's why too. But again, it's like, dang, poor Christina Ricci. Like she's so pretty, and then not that Rosie's not pretty, but like it just just didn't land for me. It didn't make sense.
Right.
And then we have the Melanie Griffith as Teeny. I think is a little better. Again, Melanie Griffith is like super soft spoken, has that like weird soft voice.
Yeah.
Where Thora Birch didn't have that, but the concept of her turning into a famous actress that is a sex symbol like fits, and I think that worked well.
Right. And the only problem is that I don't read, like, Teeny, though, as a bimbo. She was, like, still really smart and had, like, I don't know, like, a lot of
I don't
street
think
smarts and stuff
Melanie
like
Griffith's
that.
like a bimbo.
She always comes across that to me, though. I think it's just from that way that she speaks. I don't know.
Smart in the treehouse.
In the treehouse. I don't know.
Didn't you see Milk Money?
No,
She's
yes.
not a bimbo.
No, I know, but it's just like the way
But
she presents
always
herself.
loved that idea of people being like obsessed with her and like thinking that she's beautiful. Like that was her thing, and it just makes sense to me, anyways. But she's still super nice, so I don't know. It all checked out for me. Chrissy and Rita Wilson. You said that you think that was the most successful.
I think so. I think she nails it.
Yeah, it's true. And she like again, like super upgrade for Chrissy, like became Rita Wilson, even though she still does that like weird curls all like individual. It looks like she's curling like individual strands of hair instead of like
also
big pieces.
Rita Wilson had the easiest job because Chrissy is such a character type, like a character type or stereotype, you know.
Yeah.
She's like has two like basically just like one quality that she's like uptight and very prim and proper. Yeah. That's like kind of easy to do.
That was a good one. And then finally Demi Moore as Sam, which I think works because she's very like moody and likes her sci-fi, doesn't like love to be around people. I think it worked out pretty well.
Okay.
So really the Rosie one, I just think was the only fail.
But who else could it have been?
Sigourney Weaver.
No. Who's like tall, dark,
Jennifer
long
Connelly?
hair? Yeah.
That could work. I just
Too pretty,
I
maybe.
but Christina Ricci's so pretty. Like I was looking at
She's
her in
like-
this and I was like,
yeah,
she looked so pretty.
Yeah, I thought that too, but I think when I watched this, I never thought
Me
that because I
neither.
think she was so unique looking at
Yeah.
the time and so like interesting looking, and she's also coming off the heels of playing like Wednesday Addams.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like
That's
her
true.
roles for a while, but I agree, like she's stunning in
Yeah.
this, and she's like most beautiful skin and like those
what
big
the
eyes.
fuck?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
the
no,
fuck?
I agree with that. But I think that would have been really cool to have like some.
But so the reason I have this fan theory about Roberta and Chrissy is that they're like obsessed with each other. I know they're friends, but they seem to spend a lot of time together. Whatever, that's fine. At the end, when Chrissy's giving birth to the baby and she gives birth to the baby and is holding it, she mouths the words "I love you" to Chrissy, and then to Roberta, and then Roberta mouths them back to her like "I love you too." Weird. I'm just suspicious. She didn't say any of her other friends she loved them, like mouthed it. No, I thought it was a little suspicious, and that's an interesting thing to think about. If you're like friends your whole life, and then you realize you're more than friends. Whoa, fan fiction. Write it up.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that theory a lot because they were super close, and it would be like because she like Chrissy, because she's so uptight, like would have to get married even if she thought she might be a lesbian. Like she would like need to do that because she just can't go by the rules. So it fits.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, I did that one. But like, okay, why are they friends with Chrissy though at all?
I know. I feel bad because it's like I feel like
They made it almost too strong that she was like so annoying,
and they were always kind of making fun of her.
Yeah.
But like, Roberta is the only one that really kind of stuck up for her sometimes. But I don't know. They still laughed at her a lot, and like, I don't know.
Like, did she have fun at all with that group? Because it just seemed like she just was a
Seems
drag
like
all the
she
time
was
and was complaining,
naive about it, and didn't realize it.
I think that's what really makes me think that they probably did their own thing after a while, and like those things that like you put up with when you're a little kid and you have this one friend who doesn't want to do stuff and you make fun of her turns into like, let's not hang out with her anymore, like once you get older. So I think that's what happens. I'm sorry, Chrissy. Very sad. I like that part where she goes when Brendan Frasier gives them cigarettes and she's like, no thanks, like smoking stunts your growth. And it reminded me of like the Clueless where Cher's like, coffee, like that'll stunt your growth, like I want to be 5'10" like Cindy Crawford. And it's like interesting that those like was that like a thing like passed
when you're
around.
12 maybe, but Cher's like 16 17, like you're done growing, honey.
Yeah. But okay, but let's say maybe it stunts your growth smoking. I don't know if it does.
I don't think anything can stunt your growth.
That's not a tie. It's not like environmental factors, I don't think, unless you're like locked in a box and don't get vitamin D, it would like stunt your growth.
Right.
But like hello, lung cancer.
Yeah.
Like that'll really harm you.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
That's
Chrissy.
the one. That's the
But
one.
I just think that's funny. Like smoking will stunt your growth.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, that was funny. I learned today that a black cow, didn't know this yet.
Oh, I love black
Yeah,
cows.
was a Coke float.
They're good. I used
Are
to make those at the ice cream cafe, like for myself.
I feel like I need a
during our
redo
summer
on
job.
a root beer float or any of those soda floats because I really never liked those ever.
I mean, did you ever try one?
No.
I don't think you ever tried one.
Yeah,
Then
they're
how
just
can you
like
say you didn't like
I know.
it.
I just was like, I don't like those because I never loved root beer. It was my least favorite soda of all times. I thought it tasted like roots,
Really?
aka dirt.
Orange soda was more pleasurable to you.
Oh, I
Grape
love orange soda. Oh yeah,
Ew. Ugh, hate
orange.
grape
Oh
soda.
my god, I would get the orange mustaches from drinking the orange soda.
So there's so much more sugar in orange soda than like any other soda. My friend at work was drinking one, and he was like, "Oh, it's like 71 grams of sugar." We were like, "Is that it?" Like, and then we did a comparison. It's like 2 shot glasses of sugar.
Crush. Ooh, shit was
That's what
good.
it was, I think.
Crush is good.
Oh,
man.
gross.
Yeah, I was always into the limey non-Coke. That was like my jam. I didn't like any of that.
was your jam.
I know.
Sweety loved a good
But
Sprite.
but we should go out for root beer floats or black
make
cows.
one.
That
Let's
would
make
be
black
fun.
cows next time.
Yeah, I would love to try one of
We'll
those.
update.
Do you like eat a spoonful of ice cream with the soda, or it all like melts into this like creamy goodness?
A little bit of both. You
Interesting,
like start with the
interesting.
spoon, and then it kind of like dissolves, and you suck it up. It's good.
Isn't that where you have the spoon straw
Yes.
combo?
Yep.
Sorry, I used to work in an ice cream store. I should know all about this, but I'm like, it's like I'm talking
But
about it
no,
for the first
that
time.
was like a long spoon and a straw separate.
Yeah.
We didn't have
they're-
like the
combos are cool though.
Yeah, no, those are really cool.
Yeah.
We didn't have those.
Yeah.
Too fancy.
Yeah.
I had thought of that too when they were drinking those. And they drink so much Coke in this, which I know was a
do.
thing in the 70s, but like it's just so funny now to be like, wow, you drink a lot of soda.
I mean, they weren't drinking water. I'll tell you that. There wasn't any water being
know.
consumed. Yep.
It's
And like
crazy.
milk at dinner and like all the little like 70s dinners where it was like full court, like
here
bread
are peas.
basket, peas, like a protein.
Yeah.
Like so cool.
Blue macaroni. Yeah.
So the Janine Garofalo little cameo. And I feel like Janine Garofalo made a couple of these like little things. And she finally got her own movie when she did The Truth About Cats and Dogs with Uma Thurman, which we should totally watch.
Oh my God, I've never seen
Good
that.
one. Yeah. She finally got her star turn in that. Pretty good. But in this one, she plays, like Sweety said, the like fortune teller, tarot card reader of the town, and also side job in it as a waitress at Shelley's Diner. So she's just hilarious. She always like plays every like little cameo like that. It reminds me of the one in Cable Guy. There were no
utensils that you knew in medieval times. Therefore, there are no utensils here. Medieval times. Would you like a refill on your Pepsi?
Sir? Oh my God. Yeah, so great. So she was great to see her.
Yeah.
It's like an old friend coming back and like, hey, Janine, miss you, bitch.
She's so witchy. I love it.
She's so witchy. Let's talk about Sam's mom's outfits, hair, and her attitude in general.
Okay.
So, as Sweety said, Sam is the one that has the quote-unquote broken home. So, her dad leaves in the middle of the night. And before that, she's kept awake by her parents fighting. So, she knows it's not a harmonious marriage, but it's still tough to take as like a 12-year-old. You're not really realizing, wow, maybe my parents would be better apart than together. Like, that doesn't really...
My dad doesn't even want to say goodbye to me.
I mean, that dad is
sister.
like sketchball, right?
Ted. Fuck
right.
you,
They
Ted.
have 2 kids. So, anyway... Before that, though, you see Sam's mom come, like, getting out of the car in these, like, 70s hot pants and these big white glasses and a hair flip and these, you know, Nancy Sinatra, like, go-go boots. These boots are made for walking.
Don't worry, they play it.
That's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. Do, 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 do. Reminds me also of Austin Powers, that amazing scene with the fembots. So good. Anyway, so then throughout the movie, she is like has a new hairstyle every time. Has this collection of wigs. She looks different. Like I would never see it's the same. Like think it's the same actress.
She's definitely going through a crisis, a single lady crisis. Just realizes she's like out on the town now and is like, I'm hot. And who knows what she dressed before? I assume different because Sam's like, for some reason, my mom started dressing like Nancy Sinatra. So it must be a change.
She must have known her like marriage was kind of like going down the tubes.
There's a scene where she checks on Sam like sleeping and she looks so normal. And I'm like, who is that?
So then what seems to be, and you don't know the time frame, but like Sam's dad leaves in the middle of the night and what seems like maybe the next day or two, bitch has got a new boyfriend. Hank Azaria is like this weird new boyfriend that she like invites over to dinner and he's like playing with the little sister. He like says they should all go on this like road trip to Washington DC, the Smithsonian. Like, who is this dude? Mom?
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
It's really weird. And like, was that acceptable for 1970s?
I don't think so. Unless they were like seeing each other before the dad actually left. I mean, that could be a plot twist.
Mom?
Oh, sure. But yeah, unclear about that motivation. Don't think it was a good idea. Obviously, I'm behind Sam 100%, and like this is some bullshit. And storms out, like 100%. Agreed.
Yeah, and there's this like great scene when she's at dinner and she's just like being a little brat, which I think she has the right to be because it's just too soon. But like Hank Azaria character has like spinach in his teeth, and she's like, his name's Bud, and she's like, excuse me, what's your name again? He's like, Bud. She's like, Bug.
Which is funny.
Yeah, which is funny.
Because Uncle Buck,
right? That joke gets passed around a lot. And then he's like, oh, no, it's Bud. And she's like, well, Bud, you have food in your teeth. And then she, like, gets up, and then he spills wine on himself. And it's just like, bye-bye, Bud. But, yeah, I like that scene a lot. And I like the mom. I feel for her. But, like, again, like, don't fuck up your kids. And whoever that dad is, like, again, horrible choices that you made and why you didn't say goodbye to your kids because he really like messed her up for the rest of her life.
Do you know what Bud is short for?
Budinsky.
No one seems to know. Somebody's name who's that was their nickname's name was William.
I think it's like a catch-all. Like it could be a name for it. Isn't it short for buddy? Aren't you like, hey buddy, and like that's just like a catch-all.
That's
nickname.
the name you go by?
Yeah.
I don't know. Everyone is asking this question on the internet and no one knows the answer.
That's crazy.
It's very weird. Bud is just a nickname. My grandfather goes by Bud and his real name is Robert.
Yep. See, it's just like
Bud can be a nickname in Irish family, short for brother. Also short for Donald. What?
Yeah, it's anything.
A nickname for Buxton, says this person. Bud is a nickname used since the medieval times. Okay.
Whose first name is Buxton?
People need to get a life. Just get over and go out with someone else. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Any what else was that? The bud sitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one. Let's talk about playground games.
Okay.
So in this one, they play Red Rover, which Sweety and I think, are in agreement over this, that is the worst playground game of all time. I just think, first of all, it puts a lot of pressure on the person, which is not a game that I would ever like to play, because anytime I was like the center of attention in an athletic competition, I was like, no, thank you, I'm out. But this one just seemed impossible. Like, I don't know. It
is, first of all. Here's what I'll tell you about Red Rover, okay? I did Eastham Recreation when I was a little girl, and it was like fun for a while, but it was like this summer thing where like your parent, it was at the high school and it was run by high school kids who seemed like much older than that when I was little.
So old.
And your parents would drop you off in the morning, they'd pick you up in the afternoon, and it was like super cheap because it was run by the town, so it cost like no money. So essentially like free childcare. So mom and dad, I get it. And it was like fun for a little, but they made you play all these damn games, and some of them were not fun, including Red Rover. So here's the situation. I was a very little, scrawny girl. I was short and I was skinny. And for Red Rover, they'd be like, I always have like the big giant kids run through my arms and nearly like break my arms. It was terrifying.
Yeah, it's a terrible game. I just hate it. I hated most gym games, I think. Like tag was very scary. Capture the flag was terrifying. I was just like scared of the
it
games.
seems unsafe.
Yeah.
You're going to break through a kid's
yeah.
arms?
Red
Is that
Rover,
going to
yeah,
like,
for
I
sure.
think I got injured a couple
You like
times.
toss them back. Like, what? Yeah. Not my favorite. My favorite was definitely Slide the Beanbags. A nice, safe game. You're just like sliding
I like
those
Capture the
beanbags.
Flag. I didn't mind a good Capture the
Just
Flag.
very stressful.
It's really stressful, but I actually was like okay at it. You know, I don't know what else I liked, but Red Rover, not one of them. And I hope, do kids play that game anymore?
I hope
don't
not.
know. Who has kids?
I don't
Tell
think
us.
I've actually ever played it, but I just
Ugh,
saw it in this movie. I was
Stinks.
like, never want to play that.
It
Dumb
stinks.
game. Dumb game. Sweetie, truth or dare?
Truth.
Who's the last person you had a sex dream about? I couldn't think of
Oh my
anything.
God. Probably my old boyfriend.
Oh,
Yeah, not very
sad.
exciting. I know.
Oh, sad.
Very sad.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to ask you, do you remember off the top of your head any other movies that do this like flip time thing in between, like, okay, these are like the now characters and like these are like, or the young characters and these are the
Mystic
older guys?
River.
Oh, good one.
Sandlot. Creepy Benny. Those
But
are
like
the
kind
only
of
two I
only
can
at the
remember.
end, but not like
Right.
kind
Not
of
like
beginning and
prominently
end or
featured.
throughout. Yeah. I should like look that up. So the movie. So again, I'm mentioning it. It's kind of weird, but kind of again like Kids in the Summer movie.
That one too.
But if you saw, I guess the miniseries did it too. But the new movie that's coming out, they broke the book into two sides. So the first part is just the kids as kids, but then they just cast the second half with all the adults who are going to play those kids. And I don't know if for the if they're going to do. Oh yeah, they have to do flashbacks for the sequel because there's like a certain section where they like have to go back to being kids. So yeah, I always find that like so interesting. And like we said, there's so much choices to be made when you're casting, you know, the same character in the different times of their lives. Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Good one.
Yep.
Good one. Solo. The Han Solo story.
Well, within like the same movie.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah. But those are, I mean, the main ones I can think of right now. But yeah, interesting concept.
Yeah. No, I like that. It must be such a challenge to be like, oh, like who would be? Because There's
one.
Big?
Right. Which is just the one.
Just
Again,
one,
just the
but
one kid.
still.
But still, yeah.
Or the Jennifer Garner one, 1330. That had more kids too.
1330.
13 going
Is
on
that the
30.
name? Oh.
13 going on 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of ones. Yeah. Body swapping ones. I think it happens to more. But yeah, one where like all the characters like grow up. I don't know.
Do
Those are the
you
only
think
ones I
they
can
cast the young kids first and then they do the old people? Or at the same time? Well, no.
I think the young ones first. I mean, they're more prominently featured in the movie, so that would make sense to
Right.
me. And
Okay.
they have the chance to define the character the
Yeah.
most, so I think that makes sense. But yeah.
I mean, I know for Big that they obviously had Tom Hanks first and then they tried to find the kid.
you. As an adult.
As an adult, I am an adult myself.
I know, but like when you were a kid, who would have played you if you were 12?
Jennifer Connelly. Oh, no.
Yeah, sure. Works. Fits.
But she would have been 12?
No. You're 12.
Yeah.
Who is the actress that would play?
I would love that.
You?
I did have eyebrows just like hers, too.
I guess mine would be the same.
Really?
More or less. Well, we look, we're sisters, so I can't think of anyone else. There's always actresses who I'm like, I look like. You're like, no, you don't. What about Winona Ryder for you?
Oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
But like she's a little bit more scrawny than I am. I don't know.
You just said you were too scrawny and short for Red Rover.
I know.
Scrawnier than Winona Ryder?
Winona Ryder's
she a
kid though.
She's not a kid.
She's playing the adult me.
Yes.
I'm playing me, my 12-year-old, and then. But okay, get a hold of this game.
A hard time grabbing the concepts. Forget it.
Can it be?
I give
Can
up.
it down?
I give up.
Can up? Can it be up?
Never
Can it
figure
be
it out.
down?
We'll never figure it out.
Please rewatch this so you know what we're talking about that line because we are.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's another math problem for you. So, say this takes place in 1995. Crazy Pete died the year before, so we'll say 1994. In 1970, he looked about
in
80 years
1945
old
when the murders happened.
Right.
He had he had a kid
Right.
and was married. So let's say he was born in 1925. Let's say he was 20 in 45. Oh.
Okay, so he only would have been like 70? Okay, that doesn't check out. I don't know. He seemed really old in 1970, and I was just shocked that he was still alive, especially after taking a quick swim in the sewer. I feel like that shaved off like 20 years of his life right there. Pneumonia. Done. Are you doing the math? The problem? We should have looked at what the date of Beverly Sims' birth was, because I bet it's around the same.
This is why he looks old, because he never comes out during the day. He's a vampire.
He stunted his growth.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't get vitamin D, like, you're messed up. So, Sneaky Pete, like, this is the problem. You have to go outside
Oh, Pete.
in the daylight.
Bless you.
Yeah,
Bless you.
he's really sweet,
He's a
though.
sweet old man, though.
Yeah.
We'll call him Sweet Pete from now
I'm
on.
glad he lived to a pretty decent
Sweet
age.
Pete, which sounds like Sweet Pea. That's cute.
Sweet
It's a
Pete.
cute nickname.
Total, like, Sweetie Club inductee
Yep.
right there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, don't even think about it.
No.
Don't even have to think about
There's
it.
nobody else. There's
No.
nobody else that I would induct. Get it.
What? Teeny's Jello boobs?
Instant. Maybe we should think about
We should have tried that. That would have been fun.
Ooh, that
I
would've
mean,
been
we have
fun.
real boobs, so I guess we don't need them.
I just don't understand how you get the pudding in there. Do you use like a funnel maybe?
Yeah, a funnel or a pastry pipette
But
kind
like,
of thing.
yeah, I would, because the pudding is so gelatinous that like it wouldn't go. I feel like it wouldn't go through the funnel. It's not like
Yeah, that's why I think you pipe it in.
we can try it, but water balloons. Wow, I hated those too. I
Oh,
was
I
like,
love water
I was such an
balloons.
unfun
Oh my God,
child. I was
love
maybe I was
water
prissy. I
balloons.
feel like
You were totally Chrissy.
In theory, I was teeny. Like
my
I
God.
wanted to be teeny, but I was probably Chrissy, and I'm
Remember
really upset about
playing
it.
red light, green light with the hose in the backyard? It scared you.
It was terrifying.
I would just spray you anyway.
You're a jerk. You're a jerk face. You're a total
I was
jerk
total
store.
jerk face.
Yeah, I hated that. And the hose was always freezing. So why? Who would like
It was
that?
hot. It's summer.
It was. I mean, I didn't like hate it, but it wasn't my favorite
Sprinkler?
thing. I love the sprinkler.
Oh, sprinkler
But
playing.
not the one that like shot around like in a circle. Not that one.
Well,
Too harsh.
It was too harsh, but it barely got you wet. But I love like the rain.
the rainfall one. Oh, I love that.
Oh, that was
Jumping through the
fun.
sprinkler.
Yeah.
We're like, pretend it's a mirror. And you like jump through. I don't know. Good
We like
times.
it's ponds and oceans, but we were still like sprinklers were the best.
Because you didn't have to go. It was like just I keep having these dreams where like I forget that we have a pool in our backyard. We're like at the old house.
We didn't have a pool in our backyard.
No, we didn't. But like I keep having these dreams where I'm like, oh yeah, we have a pool, and then I go outside and I'm just like, oh man, that would be the best.
Oh, that would have been the best.
The best.
It would have been like one of those gross above ground ones though, which were so gross.
I mean, it could have been the Sesteros had a nice right in ground.
How
with,
would
like
we
the
have
wood.
built that though?
You just put it poltergeist style. Dig out the bodies, put it in the pool.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It seems like it would have been a waste.
Yeah.
Again, we lived 2 minutes from the ocean.
That's true. But sharks. No sharks. No sharks in the pool. I think I would have benefited a lot from it. But yeah, good times. Anything else you need to discuss? I would like to talk about my brief stint as a bully slash anger problem. Sometimes I would just like, and Sweety knows this about me, but like on occasion I get really angry and will just like lash out in like weird and unexpected ways. Like one time, I really needed to watch The Vampire Diaries and the TV broke. Or the cable was out and I just got like so upset
was
about
that when
it.
you were living together?
Yeah. And you were like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, I just really frustrated. It's when I get frustrated, I think, or embarrassed, I'll just like lash out. One time in gym class, Ultimate Frisbee, Hillary Burkett like laughed at me because I threw the Frisbee like weird and it went. She like laughed at me and I was really pissed about it. And I just like punched her in the arm really hard and she started crying. And I was like, oops, didn't know my own strength. And then this is the best one example. And this is like not an anger thing, but I just like, it just like popped into my head and it makes me nervous that like I could have maybe been a serial killer because I was just like did a weird thing without thinking. I don't know. What does that mean?
I don't know.
So Peter Giblin in CCD was like being a dick and like pushed past me to get into like CCD class before me. And he like hit me to the side and I was like, that's annoying. I was like, oh, Peter. And then I like pushed him so hard that he like flew across the room and like skidded on the floor. He got so mad that he got up and like grabbed me and like tried to like pull me to like, I don't know, beat me up or something. It was so weird. And the teacher saw it and like he got in total trouble and I was like, I don't know what happened.
Oh my God. Like, I like how this happened in CCD, like the Lord's house. Like what? What the hell?
So fucking weird.
I've never heard that story in my life. That
Because
is
I'm like
amazing.
ashamed of it. I like don't know why I pushed
you
him.
just snapped. It was just,
It just
like one
something
push
happened
too
and I
many.
was just like, pow. So I'm worried about myself.
Good
But
for you. Peter Giblin sounds like a dick.
yeah, suck it, Pete. Pete, sneaky Pete.
Sneaky. He's sneaky Pete now.
For sure.
Sneaky.
For sure.
You're going to hell.
For shows.
That's funny. Oh my God, good story. Good story. I love when I hear stories about you that I've never heard before. It's like you're a whole different new person. Not in a bad way, but just like I'm glad that like, you know, the listeners are, I would say viewers, so weird. The listeners are hearing it too, and me for the first time, and it's like
a whole new world, whole new Sweety.
Whole new Sweety.
Don't you dare close your on the floor. Good one. Anyways, yeah, good times, guys. Good times. So we hope we did this justice. I know a lot of you were very excited about it. And real quick, sad story. The actress that played Chrissy apparently died. She was okay.
It said pneumonia and bronchitis in the trivia. Complications from drug addiction?
So I always get suckered into those fucking clickbait articles on Facebook because it knows me like back of its hand, and it's like, what will Andre click on? I know either stuff about cats or child actors from your childhood memories.
Child actor.
So this was a list of like 25 child actors who have since like died since their movie or whatever. And of course, I'm clicking through and I'm like, seen it, know it. And it's all people we know,
Jonathan
like
Brandis.
Jonathan Brandis, the kid from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead,
Yep.
the Zach kid. The other one is the Corey Haim and stuff like that. And then the last one was fucking Chrissy from Now and Then. And I'm literally like on my phone reading this article and I'm like, what? I was so upset. And this was really like her only role pretty much. And then she must have just like was not able to get a good part after this or something and just like spiraled. And I thought she died of drugs, but Sweety says Sweety says pneumonia or something. So
Yeah,
who
that's
knows?
what it said, but
Who fucking knows? But that's really sad, and it's just sad that we don't even know her fucking name, and we're just like, Chrissy, like I
know.
feel bad
She's
now.
26. Her picture in the IMDb is just a picture of the Now and Then like poster. So I know, sad.
So sad.
R.I.P. Chrissy.
I hate to end it on a sad note, but we do love this movie, and we know you guys love it too. So hopefully come and chat with us about it. Do a little chat, chat.
Where'd you watch this movie?
Yeah,
Who
come
was
find
your
us.
first crush? What do you think about pudding boobs?
Would you use chocolate or vanilla pudding?
Yeah.
Come find us on Twitter at The Sweety Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Santos. So thanks, guys. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.